file against them and claim losses about the amount of money he's had to spend for this. But currently at the moment he's said no. He doesn't think that would be his way. But yeah, you never know. He might bounce back at that at some point. But I think for now, I think it's definitely over. But staying with CM Punk, Matt. Now we might as well talk about him while we're there. But all in amongst all this, it couldn't have been a worse time, could it, Matt? He's preparing, of course, for his second fight. And just for all the listeners, we're going to be sending out an interview, well, it actually will be available now, that we did with Daniel Puder, so you can listen to the full breakdown of what Daniel Puder felt about it. But Matt, just to talk about CM Punk here, he's got a lot of flack from many UFC and MMA fans. I've had a few emails in about, they don't agree that he should be on the main card and why is he there and all the rest of it. But look, at the end of the day, it's the same as Ronda, okay, on WWE's side of things, Matt, isn't it? The name power is there. So Dana White's not going to put CM Punk on free TV when he absolutely knows. And he would have sat there in amongst all those wrestling fans at WrestleMania, Matt, and I guarantee you a couple of them would have been like, yeah, what's happening with CM Punk? And he's in amongst 80,000 people, Matt. I think Dana White knows that there's a hell of a chance that this is going to spike again, and that rating will spike. And this is, at the end of the day, it is a business, and CM Punk, he's not exactly on the main event. He's just on the card. So I personally don't see any real bother with it. I mean, I know I'm not a UFC guy, I'm not an MMA fan, as much as the more passionate people out there, but I just think, look, he's going to make a lot of money for UFC. He's going to probably get more buy rate for this, and there is an intrigue and an interest to seeing how he will do. Now, I'm not saying he deserves to be there. I'm not saying he deserves to be any more than any other fighter. I'm sure there are hundreds of fighters that should probably be in that spot before CM Punk. However, you've got to realise CM Punk has a name, the value's there, and the interest is there. And if you look at what business they did last time when CM Punk was there, it spiked. So of course he's going to be on the main pay-per-view show. And so for me, I don't know what everyone's too worried about, because if anything, he's either gonna, he's just gonna do what he's gonna do. I don't really see it's a massive deal. Matt, of course, he's up against a guy who's also 0-1, hasn't won, and he lost against exactly the same guy, Mickey Gall, that CM Punk lost against. So this is as equal as you could probably get at the minute, Matt, other than age. But CM Punk, I've been watching a few of his interviews. He keeps saying that he's much more prepared this time. He felt like he let the pressure get to him last time. Is this make or break now for CM Punk? Because we know probably this isn't about money for him, Matt. This is about maybe, pride and, being that competitive edge maybe. But this isn't about, surely a business venture for CM Punk here, because I don't know how many years he's going to get out of this. But this fight, Matt, if he loses this, is that it?
Yeah, you got to imagine that it would be. At this point, you just want him to get a win, because you want him to feel like he succeeded at this task that he set himself. What was it, a few years ago, there was that documentary that came out, wasn't it, about his journey through to the UFC and how that all went through. And you see it now. It really does mean a lot to him that he can actually shift his focus from wrestling into something else. So it would be good to see that kind of dream scenario come true for him, especially after the difficulties he's had this week.
Yeah.
But going back to what you said about people who don't believe that he deserves to be on the main card or whatever, it is a business at the end of the day. It is about making money, and CM Punk, he's the only kind of guy in this position right now. But there's no mistake about it. If someone like The Rock turned around to Dana and said, I want to do a UFC fight, I'm going to make him go through the prelims or something like that.
Man,
he's just going to be straight on the card.
Of course they are.
The same with many other big names out there. Even someone like Austin or Triple H, they'd all make it on the card.
Yeah, of course they would. And that's the thing. And we have seen guys come out in WWE and try and make. I mean, Bobby Lashley, for instance, the ever smiling Bobby Lashley currently. He tried a hand. He went to Bellator and that, but he didn't do too well. I mean, it's not that every guy can just get into it. You have to be a certain big name. I mean, you forget CM Punk was probably at one point, Matt, he was on a level with John Cena. That's his popularity. So this guy is very, very at the top of his game, and that is why there's interest there from loyal WWE fans that are CM Punk fans essentially. And he's using that name. He even used the same theme music, Matt. So. And what's interesting about this one, Matt, and I know he's been saying, he doesn't know what the response is going to be, but it is in Chicago, Matt. And you've got to believe that even with MMA fans, I've got to believe he's going to be pretty much cheered on through this one, knowing the sort of reactions he used to get in the WWE. But we'll see. It might not go that way, but I've got a feeling he'll be quite positive for him. I know he's been getting a lot of slack because, the way he's just been sort of walking around like he just doesn't have that fighter's attitude, I guess. But, he is one of a kind. He was the same in WWE. I think that we always saw him as a bit of an outsider. So I think that's just who he is, Matt. I don't think that he's putting that on, that whole, persona that he's doing. So, I'm intrigued to see it. Do I think he stands a chance? I'd like to think so. Hopefully. I haven't seen enough of his stuff. I mean, we will see, but please listen to our interview with Daniel Puder and we'll break that down even more. Matt, just to put you on the spot here, does he win or lose this one from what you've seen on the build-up to this?
Yeah. He really did put me on the spot. I mean, I do like CM Punk, but I feel it will be maybe a decision. I've got a decision on this.
Okay, fair enough.
But he'll lose by decision.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. I think, he's a massive underdog again, even though this guy doesn't, has exactly the same record. I think Dana White's trying to give him every opportunity that he can. But let's put it this way, Matt. If CM Punk happened to win, again, his stock goes well up again. And then, I tell you what, I don't care if it's one-on-one. You'd be surprised that you watch them try and make a massive amount of money in the next fight. I guarantee you there'll be another name calling him out because they'll know they'll make so much money with him. It won't be about a legit fight, but I guarantee you there'll be, someone with a belt in that division that will probably want to face CM Punk because they know that the guy that's probably the number one contender, they're not going to make anywhere near the kind of money they will with Punk. So it's interesting. It's funny about the UFC at the moment because a lot of people keep saying it's not as much about the belts anymore. It's more about the super fights. The fight that we got recently between George St. Pierre and Bisping, and especially coming off of last year's crazy boxing match between Mayweather and Conor McGregor. It's about these kind of crazy super fights, and you even saw it with John Jones when he called out Brock Lesnar. Now, do you really think that John Jones is going after the toughest guy that he thinks is the toughest guy, or is he going after the guy who's going to get the most cash? So you've got to look at it from different perspectives, I guess, in the UFC. So it'd be interesting. Depending on when you're listening to that podcast, we'll be going out tonight if you're listening to us on a Saturday. So going to be an interesting night as always. Matt, want to bring us on to Chris Jericho now. Matt, he's been making a lot of news. Earlier in the week, Matt, I sent you the link that him and TNA have worked something out. Not sure if he's taking his life into his own hands with that one, but let's hope it's not the Titanic that he's going out on because that would be a nightmare, wouldn't it? People not getting paid and all the rest of it. But he's doing a joint promotion here, Matt, with TNA. They're going to go aboard the cruise that he's been lining up, and not only that, Matt. Recently, earlier today, depending when you're listening to this, he's now a champion again for New Japan. How amazed are you, Matt, that he's still going as strong and still coming out with these huge innovations, and now he's working alongside TNA. Is that a surprise for you?
Yeah, well, why not? I mean, it makes sense to me. There's talent down there, so why not?
Yeah, I mean, when is that all happening, Matt, the cruise thing? Is that the summer or later on the year, or is that coming up soon?
What was that? Sorry.
Well, the cruise itself, when does that actually happen? Is that soon? Or?
I'm not sure, but something in my head's telling me October. But
okay. Okay, so
I'm not sure.
Yeah. Okay, well that's cool. Well, I mean, I guess now, Matt, the likelihood is he could probably get some New Japan guys as well in there. So that would be a very interesting all round thing now. But yeah, it's interesting. But what's also interesting, Matt, is that WWE obviously they don't, they're not. I guess they haven't reached that to Jericho all that much because now he's kind of, he's got back into that New Japan, and I believe he signed like a 3-match deal with them. So he's not going to be going anywhere. I would imagine, Matt, he'll be back there for Wrestle Kingdom next year, in fact. So you do wonder if WWE have kind of finished up with Jericho for now, at least. I don't say forever because you never do. But it looks like Jericho... what's great about it, Matt, is that Jericho's got the clout to be able to sort of do these things now. I mean, it's kind of good. In a way, I kind of wish that... I don't know what the situation will be, but with this all-in pay-per-view, you wonder if they could... if he would have got involved with that. But then, from what I'm hearing, it looks like there's going to be another one of those shows as well coming out next year. So, because it's done very, very well. That show so far, but on the selling of it. But yeah, all good for Jericho, especially at his age and still pulling it out, Matt. Amazing, really. I think
he's just a once in a generation kind of guy.
He is.
Just to show the influence he has over the business now, he could be that generation's version of Ric Flair. Just to have that kind of influence and that kind of skill, all in the same kind of boat. Yeah.
It's almost like he's got a new lease of life with New Japan as well. When you saw him down there playing that sort of old school heel that we're much more accustomed to seeing. Now, Matt, of course, coming up in, I think it'll be a week from this where we are now. Of course, Money in the Bank. It's back again. It's, again, another joint pay-per-view. What do you make so far of the card? And obviously, I know we went to Raw a few weeks ago now and we had the qualifying, but it's all pretty much... It's all sort of coming together. I think there's only one more to be announced, I believe, for the men's anyway, on that side of things. But what are you making of this card? And just a quick question on the side here, Matt, before we do talk about it. Are you... I know we've only had one of them so far, but post-WrestleMania, but is having both the brands together making for a better pay-per-view at the minute?
Yeah, I don't really think it is making for a better pay-per-view. I kind of preferred it when they were split. I mean, I know it was a bit rapid every 2 weeks getting a pay-per-view. That was a bit intense. But not everybody has to make a pay-per-view. There's a lot of other ways to resolve the feud. The way this is shaping up, it doesn't really excite me too much. I mean, I do enjoy the Money in the Bank ladder matches. I think they're good. But that relies heavily on the gimmick of the ladder, doesn't it? There's not really people getting over based through their feuds. I mean, most of the people trying to do that matches don't really have any connection at all, especially in the women's one. So it's definitely a big question mark for me as whether this will all actually pay off. I mean, there are matches on there that I just think really have no business being there, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to agree when I say it. Roman versus Jinder, come on, is that pay-per-view stuff these days?
Yeah, well, let's go through the matches, because we've got obviously the 2 Money in the Bank matches, which are mixed between both brands, which is not a bad thing for me, because what I didn't like back in the old ones was that when they used to have a SmackDown one and a Raw one, I kind of prefer it that there's only going to be one all round, because I think you can overuse that gimmick for a while, and it gets confusing. It's like, there's one on SmackDown, and there's going to be a women's one. It's just like a nightmare. So I think it's kind of cool to just keep it to one a year for each gender. So in the women's, Matt, we've got Ember Moon, Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, Becky Lynch, Natalya, Lana, Naomi and Sasha Banks, all gunning for this at the moment. Any standouts for you, Matt, in that? I mean, obviously people will, look at maybe Charlotte in this one, but is there anyone else that, this could be something as using it as a bit of a lever to put them into a main event spot, a bit like Carmella was?
Well, aside from Lana, I'd say they're all standout talents.